What's up, Palm Harbor? So today I am bringing you Brandon Kelter, who is a mortgage loan officer with Movement Mortgage right here in our very own Palm Harbor, Florida. Now, Brandon and I go way back. We've known each other since middle school. Him and my brother are the same age growing up, so they were good friends. And it's just been exciting to kind of be in this business with someone that you grew up with. Like Brandon. And Brandon, as you'll get to know him in our interview, is just an all-around good guy. He is perfect for this profession and just kind of the way he goes about his business, his mindset, and his approach, and his expertise. He's going to share a lot of great knowledge with you guys today about that buying process. So thank you for tuning in to another episode. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. I'm your host, Florida native and real estate ninja, Donnie Hathaway. You know, I started this podcast because I'm extremely passionate about connecting you with the people and the local businesses that make Palm Harbor so special. Palm Harbor, Florida is a great place to live, work, and play. It has everything you could dream of, from the food, the outdoors, the lifestyle, to the people in the community. I wanted to create a podcast that connected the community and inspired everyone to live better. To join this community and stay up to date on all things Palm Harbor, visit my website, it's palmharborlocal.com, and sign up there to join the locals. And remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local. So Brandon Kelter finally joins the podcast.
There we go.
Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this should be fun. So we go way back to like our childhood days, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Middle school.
Yeah, back in Oldsmar. So you are a mortgage loan officer for Movement Mortgage, and you've been doing that for about 5 years now?
4 years.
4 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years.
So how did you get started in this career, and kind of why did you want to get started in this career?
Yeah, I mean, obviously good question, but my mom's been in the financing industry basically her whole entire life. So I was kind of grew up with it, around it. Didn't know exactly what she did. I just knew that she was in the financing industry for a larger bank. So I've always been a numbers guy. Always liked people, very outgoing, and always liked helping people. So she kind of put that idea in my head, researched the what the job entails, and she ended up hooking up with my boss now, and yeah, got in, and it's amazing. I love what I do.
Yeah,
helping people, getting to serve. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what did you do? What did you do before? And did you ever, like, growing up, like what did you want to do kind of like growing up as a kid, or was this like ever an option for you? Or
it was honestly it never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Being a loan officer. Before I was doing what I'm doing now, I was a bartender. So I was hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Again, kind of obviously serving people, helping people.
Yeah.
Making it a good experience. So hospitality, I was everywhere from a bar manager, bartender, lead server. And like I said, one day, my mom always knew I liked numbers. So she's like, how about you look into this? Real estate wasn't really on my mind. So many people don't know the process of buying a house.
Right.
Like, no idea. Right. And even if you've bought 4, 5, 6 homes, it's always different every single time.
Right.
So I found that this job has no ceiling, right? The freedom of how hard I want to work, you really get in what you put into it. Mm-hmm. So I like that freedom. And like I said, that I still get to help people. So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, it's kind of interesting because I kind of got into real estate kind of in the same way in that, like, it wasn't ever on my radar,
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of at the point in your life where you're like, I'm looking for something different. Like I didn't want to go down that, corporate road, like work a 9 to 5 desk job or anything like that. Right.
Yep.
So that was like someone mentioned real estate to me, and I'm like, okay, let me look into this and check this out. Right,
Yep.
this is interesting.
Yeah. After the research, you're like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can give this a shot.
Yeah. I mean, the whole hour is like you said, 9 to 5. No, it's you get what you put into it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can still work your 9 to 5, right? If that's what you so choose.
yeah, if that you so choose. Yeah. But you have that freedom to kind of create your own schedule. So that's what makes it a lot of fun and makes sense. Every day's different, right?
Yeah.
Literally every day.
Yeah.
Every hour is different.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So
I think that's the best part about it, right? I think, and that's what's probably the main factor from like, I guess like pushing away from like 9 to 5, where it's like the repetitive, here's your
clock
routine,
in, clock out.
Yeah. Every day is different in this business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about the process to like, for those people that are listening or just curious about like what you do, like what's the process like to get into like any schooling or certifications you have to get to become a mortgage loan officer?
Yeah. So it's kind of like getting into real estate where you have to do a certain amount of hours up front, your prerequisites, call it.
Okay.
It's a state requirement. So you have federal and state. So I believe it's total first getting started. I believe it's 20 hours or 24 hours of these prerequisite courses. And then once you have that, complete that, you get your certificate, and then you sign up for the state test.
Okay.
AKA federal test.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you get an MLS number, and you're able to provide and write mortgages for people.
Yeah.
So it was about, I think it's a 3-day course where they stretch it out for the prerequisites. And then, after that, once you get that certificate, that's when you sign up for the test. And once you pass the test, you're
good to go.
You're in. So that's with, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's with, if you work for a bank, you do not have to be licensed because their license, the banking institution's license, holds it for you.
Okay.
Right? But if you want to work for a direct lender like my company, Movement, we go directly towards Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the conventional loan programs, Federal Housing Agency. We do have to be licensed because we're a direct lender. Our license is solo on ourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and then every year you have to do your continuing education.
Yep.
Just like obviously you do in your real estate, to keep your license renewed active every year. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So same thing with our real estate, right? Like the barrier to entry is pretty low, right? It's fairly easy to kind of get into. You just, take your courses, take your study, and take your test, and you're good to go. And now you guys, so you have your license, and it's similar to real estate, right? Where you have to like work for a company. So you work for like Movement Mortgage.
Yes.
Like in real estate, we say like we're hanging our license with a brokerage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what do you enjoy about the business? Like what's like what keeps you coming back?
It's the joy of seeing people when they're done at the closing table, getting the keys to their new house.
Yeah.
I love that. Whether it's their first time or their 20th time, whether it's a primary residence or an investment property or a second home, just the overall joy, the phone call I get, when they're at the closing table or after of just their excitement, right?
Yeah.
Start new memories, new journey.
It's
awesome. So especially the first time home buyers, so many people, I think we talked about it earlier, whether it was their 20th time or their first time, the home buying process, there's so many unknowns to the people who aren't in this industry.
Yeah.
Right. So having the ability to make it fun and lead them throughout the process is what I thoroughly enjoy. I literally wake up and it doesn't feel like work. It's like, who can I help today? And I love that. So it's a lot of joy.
That's pretty cool. I think that's it is a special moment, like being at the closing table, right, and seeing like everyone's excited, right, and usually, no matter how the transaction has gone, so there's some ups and downs sometimes.
There's always gotchas.
Yeah, but at the closing table, it's like everyone's in a good mood.
Yeah,
like we made it through, like we persevered and got to this point.
Yeah, I mean, you never see somebody not smiling at the closing table, right? They're excited. They get the keys, and again, they get to start that new journey, those new memories to be made. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So something we were talking about earlier before we hit record, but I want to talk about this because it's something that I think a lot of business owners have a hard time with, myself included, and that's just time management, right? It's one of those things that's as your life changes, your business changes, whatever, like that piece is always changing, right? So you got to have, whether it's like a certain foundation principles that work for you when it comes to time management. But I think it's a big piece of being a successful business owner, of, someone who's, maybe not the most successful or maybe not reaching their potential, to someone who is, maximizing their potential. And that's like being efficient at time management. So we know we talked about that, and I want to kind of get your thoughts on that, and kind of like what your process is for time management. What's up, Palm Harbor? It's your host, Donnie Hathaway. If you are looking to stay up to date with all things Palm Harbor, then visit my website. It's palmharborlocal.com. Super simple. You can sign up there, join the locals, where I'll be sharing more information on local events, local history, and what's happening in Palm Harbor. I really want to create and add more value to you as a listener for spending your valuable time tuning into my podcast. So join me there, keep listening, and remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly important. I mean, in our industry, yours and mine, obviously we go hand in hand, is your time management is actually more important than anything else, right? You have to be super organized. Accountability is a lot where,
right,
you're planning your day, your month, your goals, everything along those lines. You have to be very diligent about it, and stick with it, right? Consistency is key. But yeah, timing wise, I mean, very extremely organized. Every single day is different. But at the same time, I know what I have to do every single day.
Right.
My key tasks, Monday through Friday, every day is a different day, with different tasks to do. But the consistency of doing that week in, week out, makes me as successful as I am with my team. So I definitely have to, it's very, very important.
So you have it set up where you have like Monday, these are the things that I do. Tuesday, this is what I do.
Right. Yep. I work off my Excel spreadsheet of what my tasks are.
Okay.
Yep. Get up in the morning, put my tasks for that specific day, either the night before or early in that morning, so I know what my agenda is ahead. But Monday through Friday, every single day, I have my same tasks every week that I have to do and need to do, to continue to grow my business. So I like it because you just keep it simple, right? An Excel spreadsheet, like you don't need anything fancy.
No. Whatever works for you. So do you, so you have like your weekly task, like this is what I do every single week, regardless of the week. And then every night you go in and say, here's what I need to do the next day.
Right. Yep. It's either that night, getting ready for what the next day holds, or it's just early that same first day, morning. Early in that morning. Yeah. Okay. Because again, everything, it's constantly changing, right? Yeah. So, new apps that come in later that evening, I know obviously I have to put that on my agenda for the next day, right? Obviously depending, if a client found a house that night after a showing and, they either need a quick pre-approval done, right, or they need some quick numbers done. Obviously the timing, knowing how important it is for them. Like, do you need this right now? Is this, priority, or can this wait the next day, and go from there? Right. So it's just about communication too. Trying to find what the needs are and prioritize it from there.
Yep. I like that. So one thing I've been doing is, on like Sunday night. So do you ever plan out your week? Well, so you already have like your kind of like set task for the week, right? So then your daily stuff just kind of changes depending on that day.
Exactly. Yep. I always have my same bullet points: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, always every single week. Yeah. Those do not change. They do not vary. Whether it's like on Wednesdays, every Wednesday I call my pre-approvals, asking them, hey, are you going home shopping this weekend? Just let you know I'm here and around. If you need any numbers, updated on specific homes, or I just check in with them, how's the home search going? Do you have any questions? So that's every Wednesday, right? So I know every single week I'm going to be reaching out to my pre-approvals, right? Yeah. Obviously, if I haven't talked to them or they didn't reach out to me Monday or Tuesday, right? But every single Wednesday, I know I'm doing some sort of contact to them, whether it's email, text, or phone call. Yeah. Just checking in, kind of staying top of mind, right? Letting them know that I'm there for them.
Yeah.
So weekly, I have my bullet points every single day. And then again, either the night before or that morning is the daily task, which will come up. Those are always changing.
Every day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been doing like Sunday night, I kind of just do like a brain dump of everything that's like on my mind of like things that I want to accomplish or whatever.
Okay.
And so some of it's like those repetitive tasks, right? Like that I do every single week.
Yeah.
And then I go through and like prioritize kind of like, okay, what can I get done? And then kind of, I've been working on like time blocking that like throughout like Sunday night, like my whole week is going to be planned is kind of the idea. Right.
Yeah.
And just kind of, and so some of those things I'm not going to get done that week, but at least like for me, like writing them down on paper.
I was saying writing them down,
Yeah.
It kind of, once it's on paper, you kind of automatically give yourself that accountability. Like it's written down. So this is my goal for that week, right?
Yeah.
To get done. Because it just sets you up, instead of waking up, not necessarily having a game plan.
What am I going to do today?
Right?
Yeah.
You're already behind the ball.
Yeah.
So just being super diligent on sticking with it, it becomes, yes, it's repetitive, but it comes easier. But it just helps you clear your whole week,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I like that. I like it. So let's talk about let's shift into like buying a home and kind of that process.
Yeah.
Why, and I think, I've talked about this a lot too, and I think coming out of this market, the crazy market that we've had in the last couple of years.
Wild, Wild West.
Yeah. Wild West. The importance of getting a pre-approval has kind of been before you go home shopping, before you even look at a home.
Have to.
Yeah.
It is literally the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you are even slightly interested on starting the home buying process, call me, call your loan officer that you're using and get that process started. Because if not, you're literally shopping blind. You don't know what you can be approved for, right? We've seen it so many times where clients have made a job change just before they started the home buying process. And I made a video about this last week where seasoning requirements, different loan programs have different seasoning requirements. So if you were a hourly or salary W-2 employee and you get a new job and now you're commission, you have to wait a minimum of 12 months. They really like 2 years, but a minimum of 12 months. So if you started that, not talking to somebody and you're out there just shopping, looking at homes, and then all of a sudden you find one you fall in love with, you want to put an offer in, then you start the loan application and you get the bad news from the loan officer stating you have to wait a year. You have to wait 12 months. So extremely important to get the home process, pre-approval process started.
Yeah. And it's and it could be as simple as just like, I know a lot of buyers, like the first thing they start looking is I'm going to go to Zillow or I'm going to go to like some online website and start looking at homes or whatever. Right. So if you're starting that process, if you're starting to think about buying in that home, like that's a great time to just reach out to a mortgage loan officer.
Absolutely.
Or reach out to your realtor and get you connected with one.
Yeah.
Or call Brandon and just have that conversation, right? Because that process of getting the pre-approval could take a week or more, depending on like what's needed document-wise.
Yeah, depending on everybody's scenario is different, right? But I mean, in all honesty, if we have all the documentation minimum required up front to get a pre-approval, it's literally a 24-hour turn time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're salary W-2, you've been at the same position for 2 years, I can literally have that to you in an hour, right? Once you submit the loan application.
Yeah.
And the pre-approval is good for 4 months, right? Not a lot of people know of how long it's good for too. Yep. So that's why, again, if you're even slightly thinking about it, things obviously change. So you have 4 months for different homes to hit the market. Yeah. But it gives you the time where once you have that pre-approval letter, you know exactly what you can afford. That's in your financial goals, your budget, so you're no longer shopping blind, right?
Yeah.
That's super important.
And two, I think, they can just call and have a conversation with you too. Like, so maybe they're just like very, very early stages and they're just not sure. I know a lot of buyers too are concerned about having their credit pulled, right? Maybe they're on the fence of that credit score limit. But just having a conversation with you and like, hey, here's ballpark, like where we're at. Like, is it going to work or is it not? Sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is just starting the conversation.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So we ask you what your financial goals are, kind of, buckle down of where you're at, as far as employment goes, housing history, what your rough pay is, we can get a generalized idea, right?
Yeah.
We can do that. You brought up a good point as far as just the initial conversation, right? And a lot of people are nervous about getting their credit pulled.
Yeah.
I make this example all the time where obviously if this is an example where their lease doesn't end to the end of the year, right? Obviously, yeah, we're not going to pull their credit, or we wouldn't advise to pull their credit now because their timeline of actually pulling the trigger is not till towards the end of the year, right?
Yeah, right.
So, we pull it now, yeah, your credit's going to expire by the end of the year. So there's no point of doing that. But we have an initial conversation of what the steps look like, right? Things that they can slowly start to gather. And then we'll put on our calendar, and let's say by October is when we actually do the credit pull loan application, because it gives you a 2-month buffer, basically to February of the new year.
Yep.
Right. So it gives them time. Or obviously we could do it in September if they literally do have to be out by the end of the year.
Sure.
Right. So, but again, it's just having that initial conversation, that starting conversation. But the example with the credit pull. So the credit bureaus a couple years back made a change where I know when you go and purchase a car, right, you're getting dinged for each inquiry as a pull, right? I actually, they may have changed that now in the car business too. But before, as of recently, if they haven't made the change yet, I think I read something that they are making that change.
Changed, yeah.
But prior to that, it was literally a hard pull
every time
of every person they shop for rates, right? When you bought a car.
Yeah.
Well, a couple years back, the mortgage, the credit bureaus made it where you can literally get your credit pulled by 3 different mortgage companies within a certain time frame. I think it's right around 30 days.
Yeah. Where
it's not 3 pulls, right? So you're not going to ding 3 different times.
Just get dinged the one time.
You only get dinged the one time. And Michelle Clark, she's my go-to credit repair person, or credit help person.
Yeah.
And she told me that credit inquiry, that credit pull, only affects your score about 5 to 7 points.
Yeah.
That's
so it's
it.
Minor.
It's very, very minor. And leading up to that, saying all of that is, I use this example all the time, is if you're not feeling good and you go to a doctor's office and you're going to ask the doctor, what's wrong with me? But hey, you can't run any tests.
Yeah.
But tell me what's wrong.
Right?
That's like me trying to pre-approve you on a certain purchase price, everything like that.
Yeah.
But without pulling your credit, which will show if any car payments you have, student loans, revolving credit card debt, anything along those lines, which is a major key factor of not only your debt to income ratio, which sets you up in a different loan program, but also your credit score, which is heavily impacted with the interest rate.
Yeah.
So it's blind leading the blind at that point.
Yeah.
Right. You never want to work with what if scenarios when you're out home shopping.
Yeah. And that's why it's important to get that pre-approval. So if you don't pull your credit, it's really not wise.
It's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's literally trash.
Yeah.
Listing agents, it.
Yeah.
When you see a pre-qualification letter, it's trash. Because it shows that we haven't verified your income. We haven't verified your bank statements. We haven't verified your credit score.
Yeah.
So it's literally a piece of paper where pre-approval, we verified your income, we verified your bank statements, and we verified your credit. So we're giving the stamp of approval on that piece of paper, letting the listing agent and the seller know that you're good to go.
They can afford this.
You're pre-approved, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just qualified.
Right. And a lot of sellers now, I think it's really changed over the last couple of years, maybe because the market's been so hot, but I still think that'll kind of carry over into the next couple of years, where it's like
always will.
They don't want to, especially if they live in the home, right? They don't want to leave the home for someone who can't afford to buy the home, or isn't ready to buy the home. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the main reason why it's, you don't want to waste right? You're not wasting people's time, right? So you really want to make sure you get that pre-approval.
Yeah. You don't want to waste your time. It's imperative.
Yeah.
It's,
like we were talking about time management. Time is money.
It is. Yeah. You can't get that time back. Yeah. So you're out there looking at homes, whether it's Zillow, Redfin. And I know obviously in this market it's changed a little bit. I think we've seen the houses stay on the market a little longer.
Yeah.
But before, if you were just doing the online, typically, before it kind of cooled down a little bit, once it hit Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com, there was already multiple offers on that property. right?
Yep.
So it's important to get with you or your realtor and have them set you up on the MLS search, where as soon as a house hits the market, you're seeing it before it gets uploaded to Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, right? So it's just super important. It's imperative to get in touch with, us, the professionals who are in the industry day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep, I like that. So talk about like what's needed. What are the docs? I know you kind of touched on it just a minute ago, but what are the docs needed for that pre-approval?
Yeah. So again, everybody's situation is different,
right?
Depending if you're self-employed or if you're, you work for an employer. But minimum is, let's say if you're a W-2 employee, we need 30 days of your most recent pay stubs, 2 months of your bank statements so we can verify what you have saved for your down payment and closing costs, and then obviously the credit pool. If you don't own a home, this is your first time, photo ID as well. But the main thing on the loan application, what's most important, is we always need a 2-year work history and a 2-year residence history. So if you've been renting the past 2 years at the same place, great, easy. But if you've kind of moved around over the last couple years, again, minimum 2 years, we need every single address that you have lived at to make up a 2-year history. Same with working history, 2 years. So if you've had multiple jobs within the 2 years, we're going to need all that information. A super important thing too, I said the bank statements, there's other areas where we can come up with extra money to help you with purchasing, whether it's a gift or anything along those lines. But yeah, the minimum for a W-2 is recent pay stub, 2 months bank statements, photo ID, but it's really on that loan application, getting the 2-year work history and residence history. That's really, really important.
So you're filling out the loan application, and that has like kind of like a lot of your details and
correct
and past information, that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
And then the documents are used to kind of like verify that application.
Correct. Exactly. Yep. It verifies it. Yep. So, a lot of people, I feel like a majority of the people may not know the exact hourly rate they get. They're like, it's $26 an hour, but it could be, $26.13, $26.25, right? So that's when we get that pay stub to verify, because obviously you may do yourself a disservice when you're filling a loan application out.
Right.
They only put $26, but we actually go back behind the scenes once the application is submitted and make those changes, so we can obviously try to squeeze as much income out as possible to help you with that purchase price.
Yeah, I like that. So then, so they've got the pre-approval. They put an offer in on a home, and they've got it accepted. Now they're under contract and kind of going through that loan process.
Yeah.
I want to just kind of touch on things that you should not do when you are under contract in a home, like if you're buying a home.
Yeah. So even before you're under contract, when you start the home buying process, do not open up any new credit at all. Stay away from
store credit cards,
cards. Yeah. It's the first year is interest free for the first 12 months. It's like, well, unfortunately, we have to get extra paperwork now, which could affect your debt to income ratio. Right. Regardless if it's interest free, you still opened up a credit limit. So it's going to tell the underwriter that new credit was open. And when you have recent inquiries on your credit profile, sometimes when we go through the underwriting system, automated system, it doesn't like new credits. Even if you don't open a credit card, the fact that you had your credit pooled, it doesn't like that.
Oh, wow.
It's a credit risk profile. So if they see a lot of inquiries as of late within the last couple of months, it shows it as a red flag.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So, but no opening any new credit, staying away from making large purchases on the credit cards that you do have, because again, that affects your debt to income ratio.
So like buying furniture on a car.
On a credit card you already have. Yep. Yeah. Stay away from that. Yep. Cash is king when you're going through the home buying process. Okay. Cash is king. Debit card, that's perfectly fine. No opening new credit. Very important not to make any job changes as well. Because again, guidelines, it varies.
Yeah.
Again, it wants to show consistency, stabilization, right? Because it helps your overall credit risk. If you've had the same job for the last 2 years, that's an easy proof. That's low risk because it shows the stabilization that you've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you're getting a promotion, awesome, great. We're not going to tell you not to take the promotion for the raise.
Yeah.
But if you go from a W-2 employee to now commission, can't have that happen during the home buying process because it'll literally restart the timeline just for the seasonal requirements that the guidelines put in place.
Yeah. So that scenario happened to me a few years ago where the buyer, we had, we were well into the process at this point, probably made a couple offers on different homes, finally got one under contract and we were going through that process, and she changed jobs, when we were under contract.
Yep.
And the job was it was a similar job. So same field or whatever, but her pay structure was different. And that it denied her the loan. Like she wasn't qualified for the home she was purchasing at that point. And she missed out on that opportunity. Right. But that's a big one. Right. And if you have questions about any of that, like, hey, can I do this? Should I not do this? Whatever, just reach out to your realtor, reach out to your lender.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
We're basically your attorney and the underwriter is the judge. Yeah. Right. So we want to know anything and everything. And then it's our job to collect the documentation, but paint the clearest, prettiest picture for the underwriter to give them or to make them say yes the easiest way possible, right? So, I mean, obviously when these guidelines were in place, after the housing market crash back in 07, 08, 09, these rules were set in place. So yeah, there's a lot of paperwork. I'm not going to lie. There's no shying away from that. It's a lot.
It's for good reason though too.
It is. Yeah. It's for great reason. I mean, I always make a joke where we're going to know your blood type, hair color, eye color, next of kin, because it seems like, it's a lot. But me and my team, there's always a fire drill, either a fire drill up front or a fire drill just a couple of days before closing. Mm-hmm. What's going to be more stressful?
Yeah.
It's,
before closing,
the 23rd hour, and you're getting stuck with getting all this paperwork, right? So it's very important that my team and I, we ask for only the things we need, right? I'm not asking for paperwork just to ask for paperwork, right? Because it's more that you have to hunt down and grab, and it's more for us to review. Mm-hmm. We don't want that to happen, right? So we're only asking for the exact documents that we need, but we do that up front because it's less that you have to worry about, and it gives you more time to work with your agent to look for homes and get under contract on your future property.
Right. Yeah. I like that. So I think that's super valuable and super helpful information. So thanks for sharing that. That's a big part of it that I think a lot of people don't understand. Like when they're purchasing a home, is like kind of like, okay, how do I get started? Like, what are the steps? What do I need? And then like, what should I avoid kind of during that process? So.
Yeah. Every time I get a new client to help, in our initial email with the link to the loan application, I always attach 2 attachments, and it's the 10 do's and don'ts. Yeah. And then it's a very detailed roadmap of the entire process from getting pre-approved initially to all the way to the closing table. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives them a really good idea of where the next steps and what the roadmap looks like.
Yeah, super helpful. So outside of work, what does Brandon like to do?
Love the golf.
Yeah.
Haven't gone in a while, but I always loved fishing. Need to get out a little bit more often, but I try to love to travel.
Cool.
Big time traveler. So yeah.
So you go like a winter trip every year, right? You go snowboarding and stuff?
Yeah, I go skiing in Park City, Utah.
Cool.
I always buy the Epic Pass. So I go out there. I got a buddy who lives out there. So that's every winter. I try to make it out a couple times. This year was only once. Pretty crazy winter out there, or lack of winter, I should say. But yeah, travel a lot. Love to ski. Love to fish. Love the golf.
Yeah.
So outside, love to bike. So all about the outside.
Yeah, I love that. So what is one thing I like to kind of ask everyone before we wrap up? Like, what's one of your, and you grew up here too, so you know the area well.
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah.
One of the few, right?
Yes. Yeah. Unicorn.
Yeah. So what's one of your favorite spots to like either go golf or go fishing? Like, what do you like to do?
Yeah. Innisbrook. Absolutely love golfing there. I try to get out there as much as I can. So that's always a lot of fun. Innisbrook, amazing golf course.
What's your favorite course out there? Copperhead?
Yeah, obviously it is, right? Because
Yeah.
that's where the tournament's played.
Yeah.
But I mean, North and South course are really fun courses.
Yeah.
I cannot stand the island course. Do
Brutal.
not get me out there. Do not speak of island course.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteed losing 8 to 10 golf balls on that course.
Yeah.
Beautiful, but very, very challenging. A lot of water.
Challenging. That's like, it's like every shot is like mentally tough on that.
Unbelievable.
Course.
Yeah. It's a beautiful course,
Yeah.
but it is very, very hard for my golf game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, fishing, my gosh, the Indian Causeway always has
Yeah.
unbelievable fishing. So I don't have a boat, so I'm all inshore. So I'm feet on the ground, out in the woods,
Yeah.
going through some stuff. So
Yeah.
I can't tell you my secret spots. I wouldn't be a real fisherman. Wouldn't be a real fisherman if that was the case.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I love Palm Harbor, born and raised here.
Yeah.
Awesome place to be. I mean, anywhere in Pinellas County is gorgeous,
It's cool,
but
right? Yeah.
you know, we've got the trifecta: Dunedin, Safety Harbor, Palm Harbor.
Yeah.
I love Palm Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Palm Harbor's a good spot.
It is.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for doing this, dude. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Absolutely. So, love to help people. So, again, if they're thinking about starting the home buying process, obviously it's super important to get the process started right away. Reach out to your agent, reach out to myself or your loan officer that you know and work with, and get the process started. We'll lead you in the right way.
Yep. And then just quickly, how can people get in touch with you? We'll put all the links and everything in the description. But
Yeah.
just-
Cell phone, it's always on me. I don't work off an office phone. So,
Cool.
Yep. Add the links and reach out anytime, day or night.
Perfect. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you again for listening to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. I really hope you got a ton of value out of today's episode. Now, if you're looking to connect with the guest or just get more information on the episode, then you can check the description below. I'll have all the links in the episode as well as a link back to my website. It's palmharborlocal.com, where you can stay up to date on what's going on with the podcast and sign up there to join the locals. Let's get after it this week, and remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local.